Alright guys, week starting off with a little bloodshed going on the market and Ethereum printing in another distribution pattern coming off of these levels. This is as clear as it can get, guys. This is formulating a head and shoulder back again onto these levels, and certainly if I want to be proceeding with any kind of short exposure in the market, I would be kind of careful about that short exposure onto these levels, which are sitting in at $21.75 per Ethereum. Right now, once you start taking this level to the upside, then we might have some real chances of getting back into the non-trending kind of behavior, which is I think which is essentially not nice to trade itself, guys. Look, these kind of trends are your chops, where most of the market will take away all the gains that people made during all of these runs to the upside. This is the exact trend in the market that kind of starts taking away all the gains from the people who just kind of made all throughout this way to the upside. Right now, essentially, if this really starts breaking down, which it looks to me like is kind of doing that, because guys, in the small time frames, we have broken down below the trend line right here, the grind line, which I was looking forward towards, and well, this one did not held. We were kind of constructing a good higher low structure onto this entire piece of price action right here, but it looks to me like the downside resolution is kind of clear with the start of this new week itself. Although I would not be trying to focus towards extreme down moves or extreme up move for the rest of the week itself, because we still don't have any perfect directional bias on Bitcoin itself. But essentially, if we just talk about the downside targets coming from this distribution from the top back again, yep, most likely Ethereum will be visiting the range lows sitting in at $1750 levels. And essentially, if you come back and test these levels once again, yeah, certainly you would be having a little small term bounce coming from these levels, coming all the way towards maybe 2000 for a little retest. And then, guys, look, if a support is being tested again and again and again and again, it kind of weakens, right? It has more probability to break down rather than just expecting it to bounce the price action again and again. Most likely the support will weaken once we start coming back down again onto $1700 levels. Right now, essentially, ETH BTC pair has started breaking down as well in the 3-day time frame and the time frames that are relevant. Well, I did not certainly go for that short exposure which I was looking for, but it looks to me like the small time frames, just like the ETH USD pair is breaking down, the ETH BTC pair is also breaking below this grind right here, which brings me to a point that this entire region is going to be significant, guys. This entire region of rejection on ETH BTC itself is going to be your short-term bias decider, trend definer, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, essentially, I would be looking at these levels to be rejected. If we retest these levels back again in the first pass, yes, it's going to be a rejection. And even if we come back down to these levels, we will evaluate what comes next. But as of now, the trend has started emerging to the downside on time frames which are relevant, guys. The 4-hour time frame. Now, this candle will be closing pretty soon. Most likely, by the time you are watching this video, we'll be having the resolution of this entire breakdown, which is most likely real, guys. Most likely real, right? 21 exponential on the 4-hour time frame itself, guiding Ethereum's BTC trend to the downside with every little momentum indicator pointed towards the downside, guys. Now, essentially, this is the kind of RSI signature which you got to keep in your mind if you're looking for a small time frames to mid time frame downtrend under motion. Right now, that's going to be your RSI staying essentially below the 45 reads. Now, that is your ultimate bear control zone. Whenever you see RSI simply hovering below 45 reads, that is essentially when bears have the better of the price action itself. Right now, essentially, we are getting back there and we are want to situate, guys. We're trying to situate that RSI below these levels right here. Now, if we keep on staying like this, the RSI can stay sideways like the price action of BTC itself for a very long time, but ultimately your trend is going to be to the downside. So two essential things on ETH BTC trend that I'm looking at is going to be your 21 exponential of the 4-hour time frame and your RSI being at the bear control zone, guys. Now, essentially, ETH BTC is one of the charts that you would take care of, because this is certainly going to be defining most of the altcoins trends. Right, if ETH BTC is breaking down, most of the altcoins will break down against BTC, and if BTC breaks down as well, guys, remember, in bull market Bitcoin goes to the upside, altcoins against BTC rally as well. Right now, in a little bearish to sideways situation, BTC goes down, and if all BTCs are going down as well, that would cause a cascading downside effect. That would cause, well, REKT behavior, to be honest with you. Right now, essentially, yes, we are confirming this one as your, let's say, another lower high, guys. Looks to me like Ethereum BTC really is unable to hold on to any grounds, to be honest with you. Now, this range low right here is going to be very significant, guys, and this is going to be sitting at 5.5 million satoshis per per Ethereum itself, right? Now, if we lose this level, most likely the rest of the crypto market is not going to behave in a very bullish way. It's certainly going to be a slow, sideways, choppy chop grind price action to the downside. But if this level is not being held, I think that will cause for a little disastrous news, right? But until we are kind of situating ourselves above these price points, essentially 6 million Satoshis flat, Ethereum against BTC still has chances to just kind of hold on to these levels and maybe attempt another retest of these levels and maybe just go for 7.5 million Satoshis. But guys, look, the path of least resistance, as in the price travels towards volume zones, right? Now, essentially your upside is getting more and more difficult to achieve, which means that we have crazy amount of resistance towards the upside. So this move to the upside is certainly not the path of least resistance. Although, if we talk about the downside, there's not much support resistance going on. If we just talk about this, there's one single support. 5.5 million Satoshis per Ethereum is your one single macro humongous support. And if we lose that one to the downside, guys, the pathway to the least resistance is certainly going to be to the downside, right? And that will define a lot of trends for the coming days itself. But essentially, guys, this is something which we should not be fearful about. Since we are traders, we know the ranges and we're going to make use of it. We simply got to make use of it and maybe come out profitable, to be honest with you, right? Now, next up, Bitcoin on the 12-hour time frame is squeezing against the grind, which is significant, guys. Now, if we jump onto the small time frames like the 2-hour itself, you can see a good channel under formulation. So essentially, even if we are breaking down below these levels, the first and the foremost pass would take the price action all the way towards $31,200 levels, which could be aligning with this entire range low, guys. Now, essentially, one thing which I've been focusing a lot about on this channel itself is your weekly lower Bollinger Band, which is, this is strengthening to the downside. I mean, look, guys, bears are getting more and more control as we keep on closing candles like this. I mean, certainly, guys, you do have more chances towards this area being your current bottom, as we have still not violated this entire zone, your Tesla low, as your potential breakdown area, right? You've not closed any weekly candle below these price points, essentially $32,000 levels. Once you start doing that, you would be want to print new lows, and that will essentially cancel out this entire thesis that we're going to be printing a low which is going to be higher than this one, and most likely just constantly keep on coming to the downside, testing the lower side of the Bollinger Band, the first and the foremost pass in the weekly time frame itself, and then we can evaluate what happens next, guys. Now, certainly this weekly candle closure was not really strengthful. It was really not strengthful, guys, which is being reflected on the price action right off, guys, right off. As soon as the weekly candle opened, I mean, we had a little small time frame push to the upside, but rejected henceforth. So most likely the start of this week is not looking that strengthful. And certainly, guys, if the start of the week is not that strengthful, that could extrapolate the price action in the small time frames to take the price even down further, right? And just to give you a little different perspective onto the price action itself, if we invert the chart right here, this is constructive behavior for a further continuation move to the upside, guys. Now, certainly not towards these price points, but this is constructive behavior when you talk about getting reaccumulated alongside some moving averages, right? And this Bollinger Band right here is squeezing a lot, guys. It's squeezing a lot, and whenever it squeezes a lot, it means that the price action is getting squeezed out against resistance and support for a very long time. And once we start expanding out of this situation right here, out of this non-volatile situation, that move would be sustained, guys. That move would be sustained. So which means that if we start, all right, now I'm talking about the day time frame, not the weekly time frame, but if we start trending above this one right here, let me just get back to the real charting for you guys. Now, once we start trending below the lower Bollinger Band of the daily time frame itself, that will essentially add on to the bias that yes, we're going to be pushing down further all the way towards these price points and essentially testing these lows back again, maybe trying to hunt some stop losses before well, not before, after everybody jumps onto their $1 million short position and expect Bitcoin to go to zero and they expect to be a millionaire, I guess, out of the short position. Guys, now we want that exuberance, we want that extremities in the price action to create those nasty bull traps, right? Now, I would be looking at $27,500 levels extending all the way towards $28,000 levels to be that bear trap. And well, that really depends on the market sentiment. When we do reach onto these levels, market sentiment will tell a lot of things as to if we are going to be continuing to the downside or we are just going to be simply going for that stop hunt, which constantly happens on most of the crypto assets, right? Now, macro confirmation towards the downside is still not confirmed, guys. to be honest with you, this is the only confirmation that is relevant for a breakdown. As how I'm looking at these markets is going to be certainly aligning with the lower side Bollinger Band. And check out the video, guys. Check out the video of the guppy indicator as well. And this lower side Bollinger Band is aligning somewhere with the lower side of the guppy itself, right? Now that area is your $27,000 level. So essentially, coming back into the small time frames like the 4 hour itself, if we start rolling below this trending channel itself, that could essentially take price action all the way towards $28,000 levels. Now essentially, when we come on to these levels, guys, I don't think I will be extending my welcome in the market, and I don't think I will be getting overwhelmingly bearish and just trying to just trying to go for a $10,000 Bitcoin target to the downside. Certainly not. It's going to take its own time. Bitcoin takes a lot of time to resolve, either to the upside or the downside. It has always done that, guys. And the market participation is like everybody gets onto extremes, guys, right? Everybody on Twitter either talks about crypto assets going to the moon or going to zero, guys. There is no middle ground. So essentially, cut that noise. Look for yourself that we are still range bound, and this downwards trending channel is still under motion. So essentially, for the rest of the day itself, most likely we could come back down all the way towards $31,200 levels. But as far as these levels are being held, with this entire region being your massive support in the first and the foremost pass, yes, we can expect Bitcoin to have that bounce going on from these levels. And once we start breaking below this channel, well, we can evaluate the rest when that happens, right? Now, coming on to an asset which is kind of trending on its own universe, guys. Leo right here for you. Now, just like FTX has FTT, Binance has BNB, Bitfinex has Leo, right? Now, this is a crypto asset which I don't think has any DeFi, NFT or anything going on. This is a purely platform focused token, right? Now essentially, if you hold Leo tokens on Bitfinex itself, you can go for some discounts on lending or borrowing or maybe taking any positions. That is the only thing which is Leo is quite literally capable of, right? Not a lot of DeFi NFT speculation going on this asset, which is why this is kind of segregated from the rest of the market, guys. This one is literally trending on its own, right? Now this entire trend line, now certainly, guys, this is crazy volatile, to be honest with you, right? Upside 26% and downside 15 to 20%. Certainly a huge range, but a different price action for sure, guys. Different price action for sure. In the first and the foremost passive, Bitcoin is trying to hold on to your 31,000, extending all the way towards $31,500 levels as well. Leo's trend is certainly going to be staying towards the upside, right? It's going to be going to the upside. And well, to be honest with you, this level is being cleared as we speak of, guys, although we don't see a lot of volume coming in. So if we just close this daily candle above this wick right here, that could cause for a little continuation move to the upside, guys. Now that could be aligning with your Fibonacci retracement levels right here, which is going to be 618 at the first and the foremost pass. This is going to be $3.2 per Leo, and once we start clearing this one, you got your deep retracement sitting at $3.5 flat, right? Now, guys, I thought I would talk about this asset right here because this is actually trending on its own world. And let me know down in the comments if you find an asset like this, right? Now, guys, certainly if you are willing to trade in these environments which are extremely choppy and kind of like crazy, right? Stopping out people to the upside and the downside, but not picking up any direction, guys. And certainly if we see these kind of assets which are doing things on their own, yes, you got to take a look at these things, and yes, you got to see how these assets are bifurcated from the rest of the market itself, so that you have better conclusions as to how to hedge yourself against any downside in the coming days and the months as well, right? Alright, guys, I'm going to be winding up this video right here, and I will catch all of you guys in the next video tomorrow. Bye for now.